Right then, guys. Hello and welcome back to the Once You're In, You're In podcast. I'm not going to say the name or the episode
7.
number. Is it 7? Well, we said we weren't going to do it, but Reece has ruined it. So I wasn't going to do that. But yeah, how are you going, mate? How's prep?
Sound, same kind of response as always, if I'm honest. I mean, moving more, eating a bit less. I think that's pretty much the only thing you could say. Yeah, everything's sound. 25 carbs pulled from a training day, from the final meal, and then also a devolume rotation. It's probably been the longest time that I haven't had a devolume. So I was absolutely battered. I could just tell mentally, when like you're in between work and you can't really focus. Pushing was getting to the point where preps took a toll already. So yeah, devolume in for this week. So full rotation. And then other than that, everything's good. Life is good. Coaching's good. What about yourself, mate?
Yeah, all good, mate. Similar to you, obviously with the devolume, but took it like not a week before. What was it? 2 sessions before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel a lot better. Yesterday's session especially, I didn't feel like even little things like when I got home last night, usually I'll get back and I'm just like absolutely battered. Like I actually felt like, I actually feel all right for the first time in a little while. Just mentally, what was like the issue, I was still training sound, but it was just like, when you're going into sets and you're like having to psych yourself up for a set that you should want to be psyched up. Like it was like I was going into sets like, right, come on, let's get it done. And I don't want to feel like that. I want to enjoy getting it done. So yeah, I feel better already. Back to normal volume from tomorrow, but obviously still having to work around my back. Still trying to like get it right, aren't we? Like programming. I think I need to realize that I can't really hinge. And if I do hinge, it's either once every other week at a push, or it's doing some form of hinge where I can only do like 100 to 120 kilos and do 3 sets of it for 20 reps and just slow it down and add 3 pauses or whatever. So
I don't even think you'd be able to get 20 reps on 100 or 120. Like with how fat you are, your CV would be horrendous.
Mate,
you get like 10 reps in.
I do more cardio than you when you're dieting.
Yeah, you've got a girlfriend, I haven't. So that's literally the only reason.
I've got a bike. I've got an exercise bike. That's what I want to buy.
You actually? I didn't think you still did that. I mean, you don't put it on your Instagram story anymore every Sunday morning. And if that doesn't happen,
I do it on Sunday morning.
It doesn't count. Yeah, no.
I'll put it on this week.
Yeah, it needs to be. CV ticked off bright and early. And then you need to take a photo of your screencast next to it. Check-ins and cardio. Productivity 101. That's what a lot of people
for the time you've got up, mate.
Mate, I get up the same time as you. You get up on Sundays. Like I wake up before you even put your scales on your Instagram story. The exact same story every single day. Oh, Finn's 194.5. Let's see what he is tomorrow.
Every time you see me, like, oh my God, 196 today. Yeah, man.
Yeah. I know. I'm like, mate, you don't even look like you train yet. When's that going to happen? 200 plus or
220, I think.
Yeah, 220. Okay, fair enough. Your face, mate. You'll take up half the background that you've got behind.
My face is fat, but I'm not that fat.
Like right now, if you can see, just past you right here, you can just see an F. Yeah, it's just see that F. Mate, when you're 220, you won't be able to see the one to your left or your right either.
My head's not going to grow.
Mate, your cheeks
my skull's going to grow, yeah?
Yeah. That's what's going to Yeah, literally just going to expand. Growth hormone straight to the face. That's all it's going to be.
You, mate, when you start.
Growth hormone. No, mate, we can't talk about it anymore. No, we can't talk about it. Why? Mum's watched the intro to one of them, and she said something like, I watched a bit of the podcast. It was really fun. It was like you and Finn were there chatting with me, and I was like, what episode? And she said, I don't know, the most recent one. I was like, what episode's that? I made a show, and I was like,
you're not 12. You can do what you want.
Yeah, I know, but nah, I don't know. I feel it.
You live at home, so you should have to tell her.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to have to proclaim. I'm going to have to go down in a board meeting and be like, right.
Do what I did, that letter that I showed you yesterday. I'm really sorry.
I will not be
I'm
cheeky
so
again.
sorry.
Penny didn't buy it. Penny was like, this Finn. Yeah, shocking. But no, all good other than that. Training, as mentioned by yourself, just a sense of getting into a routine of being able to actually effectively hinge, or accept you can't hinge, and then you
annoying though, because like the RDL the first time, like, felt really good. I felt tight. I was happy with it. I was like, oh, mint, I'm going to get on a run. It happens every time.
Yeah.
But then it's just like this weird knot thing in my back. I need to get it, like, obviously I get it looked at. I keep doing everything to sort it, but I feel like I just can't. I just need to not hinge, because when I don't hinge, it's all right, isn't it? It's not great.
Hey, your training's fine. Like, it doesn't. You don't really get affected in anything else. It's literally the second you add that hinge in, you just break
ruins
down.
everything else, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, you weren't like this. I swear you deadlifted. Like, I remember your form being pretty dire. But like 2 years ago, when you were at Dynamite, were you hinging every week?
Yeah, but that was sound. Apart from my sciatica was horrendous then. Like, I struggled walking. Yeah. But I'd rather that. That's how bad this is. I'd rather that when my sciatica was horrendous and I had to brace to sit down or put my shoes on. I had to properly brace. I'd rather that than what I've got now. Because what I've got now is like, sometimes it's all right and sometimes it's not. I'd much rather it be I'm completely fucked all the time and it's like, right, I cannot hinge and I just need to get that in my head. But at the minute, it's like, oh, my back feels all right. Let's take a hinge. And then I like, oh, mint, I'm going to be able to hinge. And then I can't, because it just ruins me. So, I just need to accept, like we said, that at the minute, it's just not going to be the best decision to try and hinge. But I enjoyed yesterday's session. I don't mind doing like a glute drive or a hip thrust variation or like the 45-degree hyper, like, and do that for my hinge work, and then have potentially at some point again, maybe have a barbell rowing again to get some erector, or even like a T-bar row. Yeah. But for now, I'll keep my rows chest supported because my back's just not going to hold up. But I'm just going to have to try and accept that at the minute it's not going to happen. It's just frustrating though, isn't it? Like I've said before, but I'm not going to go into it again.
No, I think it's anything injury based. Hopefully, I said this last week, hopefully I get the green light today. Aaron said that I could, if it was all good, I could do a bodyweight leg press. Can't wait to go all out. Hey, Aaron, I took a bodyweight leg press to failure. I got 96 reps, and he's like, oh, yeah, great. Mate,
you haven't leg pressed in ages, mate. You'd get about 12.
But yeah, to be fair, of how heavy I am, I probably would be like a hard set. I'd have to be like, depth would be appalling. Actually, to be fair, if you go to your ears, you get maximum stimulus. So just 20 kilos per side.
Yeah, just band it insanely heavy.
Yeah.
Do body weight and be like, what are you on about, mate? I did body weight. But you've got like 200 kilos plus of bands on. That's what
only at the top though. And I can say at the bottom, mate, it's less than my body weight.
That's what the in thing is, isn't it? Ruined my leg press yesterday.
Yeah. So I need to top band everything. So no, that'll be, I'm hoping like, the thoughts of like, it's quite weird how you get to this point, but when mentally after a lower session, you're like absolutely battered and you're like sitting on like a bench and you're looking forward, you've got like a lunge or a single leg bit of work. You're like, how the hell am I going to get my way through this? I'm like craving the thought of feeling like I'm dying mid-session. That's what I'm missing. So hopefully
you don't train hard enough, mate. You could have that on your pull days, but you just don't train hard enough. You don't want it.
No. To be fair, after my RDLs, I'm battered currently. I mean, that they've progressed well. That's been 20 kg up each week. Next time, 260. Lifetime PR.
What are you actually going to go for next time?
I don't know. I think it depends on how it feels.
What did you get? 5 on 240?
5 on 240, yeah. And I wouldn't say I had a sixth, but a sixth could have been shithoused if it would have been a 50-50 rep. So it would have been silly to go for.
Go 245.
Yeah, I was thinking 245. I was going to run it by my coach. I was thinking, yeah, just cheers for telling me, mate. Cheers. I was actually waiting for the check-in. I checked in on Sunday. Where's my feedback?
Oh, I didn't see it, mate.
Yeah, so cheers, pal.
No check-ins this week. It's my birthday. It's my birthday next Monday, so no check-ins all week.
No check-in. Fair enough. Yeah, it makes sense.
2 weeks off completely.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it makes sense. Any WhatsApp replies?
No.
Mate, I've broken my leg. I don't know what to do. Can you help me? No, sorry.
No, it's my birthday next week.
Yeah, catch you in the next check-in, bud.
I'm out of office. I've got that message on WhatsApp.
Yeah, someone messages you instantly. I'm out of office. Reply and it says a date, and it's like 3 weeks from now. You're like, what? Whole month's worth of coaching paid for. You're like, oh, cheers, mate. Thanks. Cheers for that.
People have that, don't they, on their WhatsApp? To be fair, it's not a bad idea for like when it's in the evening, but I feel like I let all my clients know like I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If I'm asleep, I'm asleep.
Yeah.
If I'm training, I'm training. Like, they all get it. They all know.
Yeah. No, I agree.
All three of them.
Yeah, all three. Me being literally one of them. So
You
the other
being two of them.
66%, yeah, the other 66% of them, they're all struggling. But no, to be fair, it's like that with mine. I'd say most of mine, like they know my set reply times. Like if I'm training, I say to them usually in the first like week, if I'm like, I voice note after, I'm like,
Yeah.
hey mate, so I've been training usually X, Y, and Z. I'm
Just
pretty
explain
qualified.
it, don't you? Like so they
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
'cause sometimes, like if like last night, obviously when we got back from Rotherham, I was getting back to
Mm,
feedback videos all the way home, and then on the walk back here. But
yeah,
then as I was like getting ready for bed, I was getting more and more coming through at like 9. And like
yeah,
then first thing I do every morning is all my check-ins. So I don't
yeah,
get back to those people till like late morning or midday today. But they all know that because they all know that my
yeah,
immediate work in the morning is check-ins. So
yeah,
it's sound. It's just as long as people know, because I don't
yeah,
like it when it's like I feel, especially when it's a new client, I'll always let them know
yeah,
straight away. 'Cause I don't want them
yeah,
thinking like, why has he not got back to me yet?
yeah.
But it's like they've got a lot of other people to get back to and a lot of check-ins to get back to and that.
Yeah, no, I agree. You always have to if it's a new client. I did a 7-minute voice note last night to a session. It was Tom. He sent me over like every single set, which was sound. I said to him, just send me over as much as you want.
Yeah.
And like I was literally on my evening walk, and I looked at the time. I apologized to him. I don't think I've ever apologized to a client because like you shouldn't have to apologize. 7 minutes is
No,
like
but like for
pay me
people
for a
that are
service,
busy,
but
like 7 minutes.
yeah, 7 minutes. And I did say, I was like, hey, mate, apologies, it's 7 minutes. I was like, I was just going through it in detail.
To be
And
fair, that's easy done, isn't it? Like when I was
yeah,
yesterday in the car, I was like, mate, how long do you think that was? And you were like, 3 minutes. And I was like, it was 4.5 minutes. So like, but you don't think it because you're just talking through what you need to talk through. And then you end up
yeah,
rambling on to different bits, don't you? Like,
yeah. And
we
then
were
you
saying,
also say, you look at the time, you go, hey, mate, this is a bit longer than I usually expect. PayPal link below, £5, please.
yeah, sorry, this is a longer voice note. Owe me
Yeah.
a fiver for
This
each
this
voice
this
note.
now counts as your check-in. See you next week, bud.
Yeah.
That would be it. So, yeah,
Are we
literally
doing,
walkthrough of an online
doing
coach. That's
questions?
what it is. Yes. Have you got many, or did you?
I ain't had a look, mate.
Oh, fair enough. Been too busy just getting back through, so many
So
form
busy.
feedback vids.
So busy.
Yeah. 44 check-ins completed today. Busy day for me today.
All just, hey, mate, good week. See you next week.
Yeah.
To be fair, they're all just texts. They weren't even, I've just stopped doing video check-ins now. Too busy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, all my new clients I get told are like check-in process. I'm like, check-ins, what that? It's catch you next month. Like literally I speak to them the day before their payment day. That's all it is. Imagine.
We need to stop
Right.
joking about it. To Tender,
No.
if you're listening, he told us to stop joking about it.
Yeah, we need to stop joking. Well, I'm a dick, he said. He said something. I think he said worse than that. He said I come across really bad. So, he followed me on Instagram. I followed him back.
He's a good guy and he will like to Tender.
Yeah, we're going to get a photo with him. That'll be the only upload on the Once You're In Your In page that isn't like a thumbnail.
I'll say our number one fan to Tender. We need to get Murta as well.
Yeah, Murta into Tender. Who else is there? I'm trying to think. Who's like lifetime supporters? I'm trying to think. I mean, Penny Kelly. She's a lovely woman.
Penny Kelly does love it. I might see her this weekend. I might get a photo with her.
Yeah, and then be like number one supporter, number two female supporter after Murta. Penny Kelly.
Number 2 listener.
Yeah, imagine. Shocking. Right, are you going first with the question, mate?
Yeah, I can do.
Go for it.
Okay, let me pick a decent one. What should the difference between training day and non-training day calories and macros be?
Ooh. Can I say the buzzword or the buzz for it, like the catchphrase? It's very person dependent. Usually, I'd just put fats a tad bit higher on non-training days and carbs, not a tad bit, but a fair bit higher on training days. I don't know if I just said fats on training days, fats on non-training days, carbs on training days. So I'd probably go for that approach, and then it would really dictate on, let's say, someone's lifestyle. If on a non-training day you're working a PT job like you would be, mate, you were doing like 10,000-15,000 steps per day easily on a non-training day. So the variance between carbohydrates or total calories, should we say, was probably slightly less than if you're literally doing 4,000 steps and you're sat in your bedroom playing Call of Duty. So you almost have to, which was Finn during the first lockdown, and not. Yeah,
I'm playing it behind the screen. I'm not even listening.
Mate, with how bad you are, it wouldn't surprise me if I'm honest.
Wait, I'm horrendous. I haven't played PlayStation in so long. I'm just so shit. It's not worth it.
Yeah, you get to that
point. I'm
point.
just so busy. Got a massive work.
You get to a point like when you're playing online video games, you need to be playing every day or every week to be good. And you take a month out, you just get ruined by people who are like half your age and probably half your IQ, and you're like, oh, this isn't great.
Not worth
And
it.
to half your IQ, mate, that's fucking hard as well.
That's like you.
Your matchmaking must be like ridiculously selective.
Mate, we ought to do a live IQ test on the podcast. I guarantee I would.
No, I don't know about that.
I would.
Mate, if we're going off strictly credentials, I'd probably do you on my degree. I'm projected a 2-1 at this point.
Oh mate, I don't care. Like, I got a 2-2 because I didn't go in. I didn't do anything. I
got 0% attendance in literally half my modules this year. More than that,
mate,
like
in all my modules. Oh, I didn't turn up more than you.
Yeah, I didn't turn up. Yeah, I'm cool.
I cared less than you.
Right, we're rambling. So variants, as mentioned, have your carbs high on training days, and have obviously your fats a little bit higher on non-training days. Protein, I think just due to the increased amount of carbs on training days, I think it would make sense to have protein a slight bit higher. So like, for example, if you were to have 220 protein on a training day, you might want 205 to 210 just so the complete sources stay relatively the same. Because if you were to have the same amount of protein, you're probably going to favor complete sources on non-training days in comparison to training days. And then that's pretty much it. When it comes to the actual variants, it depends on your daily lifestyle, how hard you train. I would usually set someone off maybe like, it's hard to say a percentage, but let's say if you're on 400 grams of carbs on a training day, it would probably be best bet to maybe start on like 275, 300, and then maybe have 10 to 20 fat. So it would be like maybe a 220 calorie variance, and then you can go from there accordingly.
Yeah.
Sound? Is that it?
Well, yeah. It just depends on the person, doesn't it? Like you said at the beginning.
Cheers. I just said that.
Some people will have like, for me, I have over 1,000 calorie difference training day to rest day.
Yeah.
Because I train so hard. Some people just can't train with that level of intensity, you know, so they might have a closer or less of a difference between the two.
Imagine you train so poor, you're like, right, mate, you're having more food on non-training days.
On rest day, simple as that. You want to drive your intensity, eat more on a rest day. Like, I always weigh in like heavier on a rest day, or now I weigh in pretty much the same, but like the difference is quite a big difference on a training day to a rest day. But like you said, when I was more active, when my job was PTing, I wouldn't have as big of a difference between the two. But yeah, with the protein thing as well, like I think you can do that, but I don't think it's necessary. Like I quite like just keeping the protein the same, just for routine and structure, and having the same meals. Like we've said, like we'll both have pretty much the same meals training day and rest day, but you just don't have like your pre and post workout normal meal. You have things that are like the other meals on training day. So like my rest day, the only real difference is that obviously I have less carbs and more fats, but in terms of the meals, like meal 1 is the same but with smoked salmon on a rest day. Meal 2 is the same. Meal 3 is pretty much the same without the crumpets for pre. I don't obviously have cereal post workout, so that's different. And then the only difference is more salmon in the evening as well for more essential fatty acids. But that's it. There's not that much difference. I think for how we are and how a lot of people like to be with their food, it's good to just keep it pretty much the same and just sort of change the quantities of foods rather than thinking, I have to have so many different meals, or change the foods completely on a training day to a rest day.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. Mine are very similar, to be fair. Just a sense of like swapping a few things around. You didn't mention your intro, mate. So I've been having my intro on a training day.
You don't have your intro on a rest day?
No, what? Mate, I've had more. One of my meals is literally like 400 grams of highly branched cyclodextrin.
I don't have water anymore. I just have carb powder. Carb powder and EAA constantly. 4 litres of it every day.
No, I've been having that. I've been gaining weight. I'm 4 kilos up since prep start. I don't know what to do.
Don't know why I'm gaining weight. I'm just drinking.
I think I'm going to cancel. I'm going to cancel my coaching, mate. It's not really working. You know, I've been having 4 kgs worth of cereal instead of the 400 grams. I'm like, that
really hard to get it in.
Yeah, really hard. It's coming straight out of me as well, mate. I'm struggling to have it. You said
that's right, mate. You just got to get the food in.
Just got to get the food and catch you next week, bud. Imagine. Right. So my question, we've pretty much answered that one, haven't we?
Yeah.
Sound right. So, mate, Toby Warner, for a young 16-year-old lad, he's an avid listener. He could be on the podium. He asked some fantastic questions. What do you think is the biggest mistake beginners make? Then that is the title of the podcast, definitely. Like that's one that people will go, oh, I want to watch that or listen to that.
What, the biggest mistake that beginners make?
Yeah. So like, just answer yourself. Any mistakes you've made over the last 6 months?
Fuck up. Trying to overcomplicate things too soon, I would say.
Mm.
So people will they'll think, even with like clients that I'll have, they'll be asking about like the minute details that really don't matter for them. Like their training intensity is pretty poor. They're not consistent with their food, but they're asking like, should I be doing X, Y, and Z instead of what I'm doing now? Like when they haven't even learned how to do a squat or any form of a squat. They haven't learned how to perform a proper hinge variation or something like that. So I would say that trying to overcomplicate things too soon would be the main thing, I'd say.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer, because you could probably caveat that for
Loads of
absolutely
things.
everything. Yeah, you could say training. Like, I can most of the time guarantee the vast majority of our fantastic listeners probably started doing like push or like a chest session, then a shoulder session, then an arm session. And I mean, that in itself is overcomplicating. You know, you could then go to diet and say people will be focused on trying to make sure that each meal is spaced perfectly in between each other, and they've got, let's say, 20 to 40 grams of a complete protein source, and as mentioned, that they're pressing the 12 kilo dumbbells, you know. So I think that is probably, it's almost understanding that you're a beginner and you'll most likely grow doing pretty much anything. And I'd also say, in a sense, like, how many messages do we get off like young lads? Sounds a bit concerning if someone was to say that and just freeze that. But how many messages do we get? And they're like, hey, mate, I don't know what to do, bulk or cut, bulk. And it's like, if you're like under 18, 20, unless your body composition is appalling, just eat. Don't even focus on trying to be in a surplus. Just eat, train well, and your body will usually kind of not recomp itself, but you'll look better.
Yeah,
and then you can say, right, you know, a year down the line, do I need to lose fat? Yeah, okay, cool, I'll go into a deficit. Or do I just need to carry on eating? Do that. You know, it's funny. Toby's like one of them, in the sense, like, he's so much better, and he'll send me his photos, and I'm like, I say to him every week, like, composition wise, you're not in a good spot, but the whole point isn't you're not going to be in a good spot composition wise. I was like, you're in a really good position to train.
Part of Team Our Fit. We're not meant to be in good condition.
You're not meant here. You're not meant to make dieting. What's that?
What's the deficit?
You know, it's just an off-season coach. That's all it says. Next, everyone's name. I'm like, hey mate, can you save me as Reece off-season coach? Sounds just like, you know. So someone mentions, hey mate, I'm thinking of a diet, and instant
Sorry, mate, I've had to cancel.
Yeah, go cardless. Yeah, mandate cancel. I'm like, oh no. They're like, Reece, you cancel my coach. I'm like, yeah, sorry mate, we don't diet over it.
That is a good thing though. Like I've said before, like when you were younger, you just focused on getting bigger. Like when I was starting training, I was like, oh, I need to stay lean. And I have clients now who still like say that, and I'm like, no, you need to focus on growing. Like, take it from me, I wish I'd have spent more time growing and focusing on not being worried about being lean at the start of training. But also just like, I think no one really cares about their form when they start training. You just go in and you just chuck stuff around. Like, and then there's some part of in time where you realize, right, I can't really get any stronger like this because I'm not actually training the muscle. I'm just throwing weight around. Now I need to reset my form and get better. So that's a big mistake that people make as well. If you were to know, like now, starting training again, I'd be like really on it with my form so that I know that I wouldn't have to have that reset at some point, and then I could build strength sort of more efficiently. But yeah, like I say, that covers everything, doesn't it? Like overcomplicating everything, or trying to run before you can walk, kind of thing.
Yeah, agreed completely. Right, your question, mate.
I'm eating, mate, now.
Oh, so do you want to go the question? I'll answer.
Hang on, 3.
Yeah. Okay.
You know how much I want it. I just want it so much. I mean, it's 3 o'clock.
You need to take a photo right now and put the timestamp on it every day. Yeah, go for it before it turns 3:01. Quickly, mate. Quickly do it for Instagram
now. Right. So the next question. It's actually quite a decent one, to be fair. Should we be trying to contract the muscle even when it's lengthening?
Ooh, I think this applies to certain muscle groups where I think there will be some merit.
Yeah. So,
for example, a hamstring, I'd say so. Lat, I'd say so. A bicep, I'd say so. When there's going to be, let's say, a said movement pattern, when there's going to be load in the length and range and trying to learn to stretch under load, I think it is important. But it wouldn't surprise me if this is the kind of guy that kind of applies to the last question, where he might have trained for a couple of years and in reality, again, probably just get stronger. But I think there is definitely some merit, 100%. Like there should be certain body parts. Like mate, if you're on the top, like for example, a hack squat, there's going to be no load going through anything if you've like fully locked out your legs, you know. So there's going to be like, oh, I'm just resting at the top of the hack squat to really try and stretch, shall we say. It's not going to be a thing, or at the bottom, you know. It's almost where like you've got to look at it and think, right, on certain movements, definitely. Like towards the latter end of a pull session, I have a Nautilus pull down on my pull session, pull and it drops off a lot in the shortened, and it's really heavy in the lengthened. And I spend a good 2 or 3 seconds where I actively will try and drive my pinky fingers in, and almost like internally like rotate my hand and try and really get like a nice, not like a lat contraction, but just in a sense that my lats will kind of like switch on, and it feels quite decent. At the same time, it's taxing the length and range towards the latter end of the session. So I think there is certain subsequent muscle groups that be like, yeah, go for it. I also think there's certain movements where it's probably not in best interest.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like you said, like lats, when I read that question then, I thought lats straight away. Yeah. Because if you're at the bottom of any lat movement or any back movement and you just completely relax, like it's going to feel pretty poor. Like if you were even on a chest supported T-bar row, something like that, if you completely relax in that length and range and don't try and create some form of tension, the weight's just going to bury you. Imagine doing like a barbell row and trying to do that, or imagine an RDL and trying to relax in the length and range. Like, so it for a lot of movements, it makes no sense. It's impossible to relax in that length and range. So you will be contracting still in that length and range. But yeah, for things like lats on a pull down or a row, I think if you keep that tension in the length and range, it helps you keep that connection with your lats rather than relaxing between every rep. Even things like a fly, like a pec deck or a cuffed fly, like if you relax in the stretch, it's not going to feel great. You want to keep that tension through your chest. So I think even just from like a connection or mind muscle connection standpoint, it helps. But also to try and tax the muscle through its full range. If we were to relax in that point, like it just, one, it won't feel as good, but two, you'll almost not get what you want out of the whole rep. For example, like you're saying, you'll spend more time in that length and range, especially on movements that make sense, or at the end of a session, like makes more sense to spend longer time when we're in the lengthened position. Only in off season though.
No. It's just the ability to get the muscle short diminishes the deeper we get into an off season. So basically, some new literature's been published by one Instagram story where the ability to get the muscle short gets progressively harder the deeper you get into an off season. Not the session.
It's just down to food, mate. The more you eat, the more body fat you've got. You just can't get your muscles short. It's impossible. It's impossible.
Yeah, it's impossible.
I know that when I creep over 200 pounds, I'm not getting a leg extension short. I can't expect to do. How can I expect to do that?
Just not possible. Just not possible. Right, that's a good one. Right, so I got 2 questions, and they're basically the same, but they're slightly worded differently. So I'll read both. How I structure an upper body day. So firstly, I want to be like, well, tell me, how do you?
That's not a question.
Yeah, that's not a question, mate. I don't know what you're trying to get at there. And then a guy called Jake has also followed up. They don't know each other. They might be best mates. But he's actually, he's even put, how can I make an upper day? Mate, these guys are defo. Yeah, I don't know, mate. You have to tell us. How can I make upper days effective with so many muscles to train? Just so many muscles,
We've got so many muscles here, guys. We've got so many muscles, lads.
Struggling here. Any muscle you want.
So, how I would say to do it for an upper session, generally, I would look at your strengths and your weaknesses in your physique first. If you've got like a really, really weak back in comparison to your chest and shoulders, let's say, then I would probably do the pulling first. But I more often than not favour doing the pressing work first, just because if you, let's say, do a couple of back movements prior to your pressing, likelihood is you're going to struggle, or you're going to feel less stable on your pressing because your back's pretty fatigued, and your upper back in terms of your scapula locking in needs to be pretty secure on your pressing. Likewise, your lats will help in terms of locking you in for pressing. So I would more often than not do your pressing first. So I'd start with like a lateral raise as you would on a push day, then probably do 2 presses, so 2 pushing compounds. One that's going to be a little bit more shoulder and upper chest focused, one that's going to be a little bit more costal fiber focused. So let's say a high incline dumbbell followed by a low incline Smith or something like that, or flat machine press. And then I'd go on to the back work. I quite like having like a bent over row on an upper day, because I feel like it ticks off a lot of the back musculature in one movement. So not just not like it's solely lat dominant. You're getting a bit of lats, a bit of rhomboid, trap, rear delt, erector as well for holding that position. So I quite like a bent over row, and then some form of lat dominant movement, and then probably some form of upper back dominant movement as well, because the bent over row isn't going to be solely hitting the lats or solely hitting the upper back. And then I'd probably do an isolation for chest, so like a fly, and then a bit of arms. I often actually put arms on legs for people. So when people have upper sessions, and especially if they're limited to time in the gym, I won't have arms on their leg sessions. I'll have them on their, I won't have arms on the upper. I'll have them on the 2 leg sessions. So I'll either have just a bicep movement on one and just a tricep on the other, or one bicep, one tricep on both leg sessions often, even like with side delts like we spoke about before.
Yeah. No, I agree. I like the approach that you have for the pulls afterwards. I like what you do at Evo. I have that kind of approach with a lot of my clients, where it's like some horizontal pull, where it's going to be taxed in the lat and the shortened. Then vertical pull to begin. Then like a horizontal row, whether it's a bent row or chest supported row, that kind of ticks off, as you mentioned, like all the appropriate musculature. And then I like a hammer strength iso row, something that's almost more of a lat focused movement, but then it'll also drop off slightly in the shortened. And I feel like it kind of goes in a good, like there's good synergy in between them. And I think then following up, I know you then have like an upper back row, and then you have like
that is a pull day for me. Really.
Yeah. I completely understand that. But like on a generic upper session, I think you could probably have those 3 movements. So you could literally go horizontal, vertical pull that's probably a few seconds in the short, then a mid back row in the sense of like a bent row, chest supported row, whatever it's going to be. You can have a little bit more emphasis if it's going to be a chest supported on either the lower, mid or upper, and then potentially like a lat focused row where it will drop off slightly in the shortened. So for example, the hammer strength iso row is fantastic for where you'd want it there. And then I think if you were to go into like your isolations, I think maybe like you said, just a pec fly, you could maybe have a rear delt movement in there. But I think if on an upper lower, it would almost be a sense where what I do is I have some uppers where it'll be like push orientated, and it'll be like three pushes, 2 pulls, and then it'll be like a rear iso, should we say. So either like a rear delt iso, and then it'll miss out potentially a fly iso, and then that'll be on the opposing upper where it'll only be 2 presses and more so 3 pulls, and it'll have like a pec iso to finish. And then arms will just depend on the individual. I think if it's like a push focus one, you can get away with no triceps. You can probably have that on another day. And then I think most people that are listening, like if you do arms after an upper session, most of the time you get onto them, you get really no pump. Like you kind of just moving weight around. If you do arms after a lower session, you will realize like, oh, I'm holding myself back here because the pump's so much different. Like glycogen not being depleted throughout the session unless you're deciding to leg press and just do curls in the middle of it or lateral raises in the middle of it. Usually you can get away with doing a bit more on lower, and you actually feel it a bit more. And it's all about feel. You know, I just feel it so much. So yeah, that would be that. Is it your question, mate, or is it my question? I think it's your question now, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll carry on from that one basically, because someone asked, where is it? Oh, do you ever program direct shrug work?
Oh,
you
depends.
And then I'll say why I don't at the minute.
Yeah, I don't really for a lot. The only times I ever will is if somebody will be like, hey mate, I've noticed there's no like direct trap work. I'm trying to bring these up. Is there anything that we can do? But I almost think especially on an upper lower kind of approach, you'd be better off, like you're going to tick off that upper back, like plane, should we say, on other movements if there is a focus there. And I almost think, is it a needed movement? I don't really think so. If that's almost then you're saying, right, well, your trap development might be hindered, then so be it. I'd much rather a client focus on musculature that's probably going to be more conclusive towards their physique looking far better, other than just their neck and upper back looking a bit better, you know? So yeah, I'm not a massive fan, if I'm honest. I'm not 100% against it. It wouldn't be worth a client mentioned it. I'd be like, right, go cardless cancelled, see you later. But like I am if they want the diet. Yeah, they mention the diet. So it's not that I'm not that against it, but I'm not just trap coaching, team R trap coaching.
I don't obviously for myself at the minute, just because of my scapula, I found that it helps not doing traps. Although I could probably do them like really, really light. Yeah. And I might do if I know that I'm not going to be able to hinge, then I might add them back in, but just make sure that I'm not really letting my my scapula protract on that left side. But that's why I haven't done shrugs in ages because of that, because of my scapula. But if I have someone on a like a pull push leg split, then they will likely have it on the pull day. If they're on just an upper lower split, then like you say, it's something that I kind of, it's almost like one thing that you can cut out.
Yeah.
Like it's one of the areas that if you're doing an upper back row, if you're doing a deadlift or hinge variation, like a shrug is probably one of the things that you can kind of sacrifice because it is getting hit elsewhere. Yeah, not directly through elevation of the scapula, but it is still getting hit through those other compound movements.
Yeah, no, agreed completely. Right, got a good one, mate. Adam Zer's life. He's asked a few questions, I think. Has he asked you a question?
Yeah.
What did he ask you? Is it a long one?
Can't tell you.
Okay, fair enough. Why did someone want to fight you at Progress Works?
Because you're a twat.
Yeah, well, firstly, Adam, I'd like to say, who are you talking about? There's two individuals here.
Well, it's not me.
So,
I'm not a twat.
No, not you. No, I'm saying more to Adam. Like, it's not just one person. It depends what story he wants to tell me.
All right, there's two people that tried to fight.
Yeah. So I'll go through it in 3 seconds. So basically, Progress Works, a gym just full of absolute weapons, if I'm honest. Like it is. It's a bad like for people there. Kit's lovely. It's okay. Atmosphere dire. The leg room's like a hospital. I've said this before. I'm not a massive fan. We train there from the end of when the gym's reopened post lockdown 1.0. Yeah, and then we never trained after there when the gyms closed again. I think we had a bit of a realization when the gyms closed, and we were like, "What are we doing there?" So we moved on. So one of them was about somebody took the dumbbells that I was about to go in on. I asked him, "Hey mate," like wasn't being a dick. I just said, "Hey mate, give me a shout. What are you doing with those dumbbells?" I was waiting. He then like criticized my execution to then do the subsequent dumbbells for less reps by about half, which is quite funny. And then because he was being a bit of a dick, I thought I'd be a bit of a dick back to him. And we both were being bellends. Like I wasn't the. Nah, there's definitely not. There'd be no need. The worst thing is, and we'll leave it at this: most people would know who he is because he's quite popular. I don't even know if he's quite. Huh?
And it wasn't me.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Finn Kelly Coach, the guy who's had the same amount of followers for 2 years on Instagram. No. So
more than you.
Yeah. So as mentioned, so basically he asked me he was being a bit of a dick. He then got the same dumbbells for I got, I think 13 reps, he got 6. So I kind of made that quite apparent. And then he asked me for a fight and I just said, I'm not fighting you over dumbbells, mate. And then he apologized afterwards. So that was that.
His depth was better though.
Yeah.
Gotta give him that.
But mate, he was bouncing. His eccentrics were rushed. Like his execution was appalling as well. I'd argue they were both as bad as each other, if I'm honest. There wasn't where if his execution was spot on, you'd say, yeah, fair enough, like good one. But it was appalling. Like I looked at it, I was like, that's a shit set. And I only looked at that because he was commenting on my execution. And then the second one was just before the gyms closed, just going into the second lockdown. I was videoing myself doing an upper back row. Somebody threw my phone, like it was propped up by my water bottle, and he kicked it and threw my phone. So I finished my set and I just went up to him and said, don't throw my phone, mate. And then he basically had a massive go at me. I found it quite funny. He said to me that I need to focus on training, and I think I brought up something about his physique and saying, well, it applies to you as well then, mate. And that was pretty much that. And then we saw him, he apologized as well.
Lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, he's
proper
lovely.
Sound guy.
Yeah, he trains at a warehouse now, and he's proper sound. Like he saw us and he was like,
hey boys.
Yeah, he was like, oh, sorry, mate, I was having a bad day. And I was like, yeah, is that what you call it? Like, imagine got in a fight. And then I saw him in the gym again. And he was just like, right, but how you doing? Because that's what he was like. It was I was expecting him to be a bit a bit off. Well, I was just taking the piss. I just went up to him. I remember, I think we walked by him and I went, right, mate. Expecting him to be.
He said he did apologise, didn't he? He was saying.
Yeah. So both of them have apologised. Those were the stories. I mean, it happens. People are training. I'm not going to say hormones are high, but in reality, you go through states of high arousal. Everyone's acting like a bellend in the gym, So it's not really anything that I take personally. I mean, it's going to happen, and it just kind of sums up Progress Works, if I'm honest. So yeah, that's the story. Do you want to go for your question from Adam, or is it a different guy?
I was gonna say, did he have another one for you?
No, he just asked that one, mate.
Oh, okay. Well, he asked me, what career would you say you'd have if you were not a PT/online coach / bodybuilder.
Okay, so I don't know how bodybuilder is a career, like with you.
Mate,
You know,
I get paid. I get paid for bodybuilding.
Do you?
Yeah,
Fair enough.
I got 50 grand for coming third.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought
Big
that was
money.
your OnlyFans that you've been promoting.
Big money, mate, in the UK DFPA.
Yeah, and what about your YouTube income? Like £3 a month? What's that about?
I get more than you because I get more views than you.
Mate, can I have a cut of this, please? Like, you've been getting like 300 views a pop. Like, where's my money? I don't know.
I don't monetize these because I love the listeners. I love the listeners. I don't want them to have adverts.
Hashtag giving back.
I'm giving back to the listeners.
Yeah. So,
you can go first.
No, I would have been a pro footballer, but I injured my knee, so that. Yeah. Unemployed potentially. That could be a shout. It would be challenging because we've said this, like and this sounds very, very cocky to say, like on a podcast, but with how me and Finn are when it comes to work, when it comes to training, like in reality, we could probably apply and do absolutely anything in relation to the task. And I think we'd probably work so hard at it, we'd be like, all right, cool, we're probably quite decent at it. So if we had, like, let's say, spent all the hours of training and we had played football or played the guitar or worked at Tesco, I'd probably be the manager of that bitch now. That's probably what it would be. Like I'd say I just, like, it's like not a relentless work ethic because it's just because we enjoy what we do.
Is that because we love what we do though? Yeah. Would we have that work elsewhere?
Yeah.
But then you say that, but then I was doing, like, when I was at uni, I was working like 3 jobs as well as training and stuff. So I don't think it is just because, but maybe I was only doing that because I wanted to get to this point of being able to do what, you know what I mean? It's hard because some people, when they say like, oh, you know, like they hate their job, you can't just say, well, just get a job you like, because it's not that easy for everyone. A lot of people don't know what they like yet. You know what I mean? So, like, you know,
I'd say we're lucky in that sense, like very, very lucky. That's the way. I don't like the look.
That argument. No, you create your own.
I don't know. I don't. No. I think we're lucky that we both know what we like.
Yeah. At a young age, we found what we enjoy doing, and we found a way to make income from it.
Yeah. No, I think. Oh, sorry. Carry on.
I think I would probably be in some form of sport because, like, growing up, I was very sporty and, like, played football when I was growing up. And I was doing, at uni, I did sports science with management, but I did on the side, like, performance analysis. So you
didn't turn up to?
Huh?
You didn't turn up to that either.
No, this was like an extracurricular activity.
Okay.
But even then I got a bit bored of that, to be fair. But if I was doing that at like a Prem team, like being the analyst, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
So I think I'd probably have gone down that route.
Yeah.
But I always think, like, there's no chance now that I would ever work for someone, or even then I knew I always wanted to work for myself. I never thought, oh, you know, yeah, I'll work for someone forever. Like, I always kind of knew that I wanted to do my own thing and work for myself.
Yeah. No, I'd agree. I'd say for me, it would be, I'd probably utilize my degree. So, like, I'd say, I want to do a master's. If, let's say, 3 years from now I had time, I'd like to do a master's on the side. But I don't think I'd be able to currently, and I don't think I'll be able to if I'm being honest. Like,
I just don't think they actually provide that much value as well. Like,
no,
nowadays,
it would more so for like a late career choice. Like, if you asked me 3 years ago what my plan was, it was to be like an S&C coach at like a high-end professional sports club.
Even like last year, I remember I used to say, and I was like, "Are you sure you don't want to, like, pursue doing coaching?" And you were like,
and I just said to you, I was like, I'll just see how it goes. Like, I never really set myself up.
You don't though. You don't, like, although you want it to happen, you don't think it could happen. Like, you almost think, like, even now, like, I'll think back to a year ago, 6 months ago, and I'm like, it's changed loads since then.
Yeah. I remember, like, I was on holiday
like the first lockdown.
last year. Yeah, I remember I was on holiday last year, and I was like talking to my mum. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do when I finish uni. I was like, I think my coaching will be in a good spot. I had probably about maybe 20 clients, but I was looking at, like, the projection of it, and I was like, it's going to be good, but I don't know if it's going to be sustainable, like, you know, long term. Where I think for both of us in the last, like, 6 months or so, we're both like, okay, this is good. And, like, it's going well through our own testament, should we say. But at the same time, like, we both, like, will know kind of, like, our caps. So I feel like we both kind of have this, like, not for you, it's more so house and stuff like that. For me, it's more so like we're probably like on the road or race to be max capacity. And then I think it would be for both of us, we'd be thinking, right, what's the next, not plan of action, but what's the next thing
we
we can have
spoke about things that we could do, haven't we?
Yeah.
To, like, expand and stuff.
Yeah.
Once you're in coaching, coming 2022.
Yeah. First client, DP, who said that. He was like, both of you can coach me. Imagine.
Mate, it'd be decent though.
Yeah, it would be. It'd be definitely decent. And then we'd have a little private facility, and we could be like, right, once you're in Gym.
And
no
entry,
no exit doors, just entries. Like, once you're in, you stay the fuck in.
Literally here with
going home. Yeah. No, literally all we have is go cardless links literally on the wall, and they're like, this is how you have to get out, and they have to sign up to a go cardless. Yeah. Be like, right, sign up. That's what we're gonna do.
Right, I'm gonna have to get going, mate. Otherwise,
have you not? Okay, can I have a look through and see if there's any more questions? I don't know if there is actually.
I've got a few more, but I ain't got time.
Okay, fair enough. Well, that's it, guys. Video ended. Podcast ended.
Bye.
I'm gonna say, Finn, upload this tomorrow if possible, mate.
Yeah,
because I've got my.
Okay,
fine. Well, so that means I can actually say what I'm going to say. Right. So if you guys are interested about my own prep, Reece Space Fit on YouTube, Prep Series 1, fantastic name. It took the whole grand total of 2 seconds to think of, has been uploaded. One of my clients, Matt, came to the gym. We trained at Ultimate Fitness in Birmingham. He videoed a bit of Finn, more so me. We're going to do another one in a week or two.
I'm not even in it.
Mate, the outro is mint. He literally has your name, our name, and then once you're in at the top.
Really?
You know, I said as a joke, yeah, mate, when it drops it at 5, you know, when you finish your physio, skip right to the end, you know, because it cut off abruptly. Yeah. The ending has so imagine it's me here, it has my name here, your name to the underneath you, and then once you're in podcast at the top, and then it's a wicked outro. I was like, the outro is mint. So basically, there's a video that's been uploaded on my YouTube channel. I've just surpassed 3,000 subscribers, so I'm on 3,030. So the road to me uploading once a week, that's what it is. That's not road to any subscriber count, just me uploading. So yeah, first episode out, guys. If you want to give that a watch, that would be much appreciated. And another once you're in, fantastic episode of the podcast getting ticked off. Episode 7. Anything you want to leave us on, or is that everything?
No, mate, I don't think I've got anything to plug.
Haven't you?
Other than just
coaching slots available
on Instagram. Coaching slots available. Like and subscribe to my YouTube, guys. I haven't done a video this week, but I'll start doing them again, I promise. And yeah, that's it.
Sound right. Catch you later, guys.